So we have had the Z06 on this channel, we have had the Sandrail, we've had Lamborghinis, Ferraris, any supercar pretty much you can think of. However, today I'm going to introduce to you the coolest and fastest car that we've ever had on the channel, and it's mine. This is my 2004 Toyota Corolla. I might have over-exaggerated a few points there, but this is a pretty cool car I just bought, and I'm gonna tell you why. So for those of you who might not have heard me say this before or are new to the channel, a couple months ago, my car got hit by a hit-and-run driver and they ran off. It was my Ford Focus, my trusty steed. I loved her so very much. There will always be a piece of her in my heart, and there are still pieces of her in my garage. Basically what happened is a drunk driver hit my car. It was parked in front of my house in the street and ran off in the middle of the night. I filed a police report. They never found the person. It's probably never gonna happen ever. I ended up coming to the conclusion for a couple reasons, because of parts left on the scene and witnesses, that it was a SUV Nissan, probably like a Pathfinder, a blue one. They left a big chunk of their fender, so I was able to get a good color on it. Whatever, blah, blah, blah. It was a big story, and that's behind us now, but I'm still a little salty. So anyways, I needed a daily driver to replace the Focus. That Focus will never be totally replaced. That was the first car that I owned that was a manual. That was a very fun car. I loved it so much, and it was super cheap. So those were kind of the boxes that we were looking to tick. And that's how I stumbled upon this 2004 Corolla. What I was looking for in a daily driver is something that is cheap, will save me money, that I can drive in the winter, and that's pretty much it. I just needed something basic that was not going to cost a lot of money. We spend money on the Sandrail and on the Corvette. I do not want to have to spend money on a daily driver. I just want something that's going to, you know, be a little lighter on the pocket. Especially with these gas prices, being lighter on the pocket is very nice for us. And also, I live in Michigan, so I can't drive the Corvette in the winter anyways. So this is my other car at the moment. So before I give you guys like a full walk around of the car, I kind of just wanted to explain a little bit more my reasoning behind buying this. I just basically needed a daily driver. And it's nice that it has 4 seats, actually 5, so I can fit multiple people in it. This is an automatic, so not as fun as a manual, but I will be honest, I kind of enjoy sitting behind the wheel and not doing anything. I'm gonna take you guys front to back, and I will show you everything about this car, and then I'll get into how much I paid for it. So starting off right at the front here, it doesn't look so great. So this is actually the Corolla S. It's the Corolla Sport. It's still probably pushing about 130 horsepower, so not going to be gapping any Hellcats anytime soon, but it does have some interesting features, including this like ground effects here. But the problem is, I lost, on the first day I bought it, I lost the one on this side. There was like a side skirt there. So then I just decided to rip this one on the other side off just to make it even. And there is some little ground effects on the back, and you can see we got that sport badge. But under the hood here, we've got the 1.8 liter 4-cylinder, and that's it. Just that. Had a 2.0 in my last car, and we downgraded to a 1.8. I'm expecting gas mileage on this to be about 30 to 35, like maybe 35. That would be pretty cool. I think we can get a comfortable 30, which is just amazing to hear. We are missing a badge right there, so I did need to order that. Under the hood here, you can see that 16 valve VVTi. Don't really know what VVTi means or stands for. I guess that's the name of the motor. I did purchase a new battery. I actually purchased it at the dealership. I got this car at Motor City Auto Auction over in Fraser, Michigan. Great place. I've bought multiple cars from there, and I'll talk a little bit about them later, but they really hooked it up on this one. So it did need a new battery, but that's been taken care of. This car has a clean title. However, upon further inspection of this car, something's a little fishy. I don't know if you guys can help me out with this. I don't fully understand why this is this way, but if you look closely, the front end, the hood, and the fenders, you can see they didn't, you don't even need to look that closely, have been repainted. The fenders and the hood, and if you listen to, these are metal, whereas the rear is like either plastic or this feels like aluminum. I don't know what that means. Does that mean that the fenders were replaced? And also, you can see down here, it was off of a different vehicle because it wasn't painted. This is where the cover, or the side skirt covered up that area there. So was it like not painted? Was this thing in an accident? You can even see inside the wheel well, and even on the tire where they tried to paint this fender and then just didn't do a good job. I don't know if this thing got in an accident and they put these new fenders and hood on there. I have no idea, but I mean, it seems okay. I don't really notice any frame damage. I'm not sure, but I really don't care. I think this is a good time to say that this is an auction car. This is a charity auction car. So when you buy an auction vehicle, this is not something that the dealership sold you. This is an auction car from a customer or a business, so you never really know what you're gonna get. Another thing that this car needed was new brakes. So let's change those right now. Now that we got that taken care of, let's take a look at those. We got the slotted and drilled eBay special brakes and new brake pads. Just did it in the front, didn't do anything in the back. Those are drum brakes, so I didn't really feel like messing with those. Those were relatively simple to put on. But anyways, I think we should move forward here to the interior. The interior is actually pretty decent. It hasn't gone through a full detail yet, so I'm gonna need to invest in that. Yeah, it's a little dirty. Yeah, it's a little smelly, but it's a cheap charity car. Like, this is, you know, I'm just looking for something cheap. It's got that sport cluster right there, which is pretty solid. To be honest, interior's not bad. I mean, it's a 2004 Toyota. It's not exactly a Benz, but that's not the point. I could use some Bluetooth though. That would be kind of cool. But I mean, everything works for the most part. AC is not great. I'm probably gonna end up fixing that, but you know, nothing crazy. And it's even got a sunroof, and it works. So like, that's a double plus right there. Seats are all pretty decent, intact. It doesn't seem like anybody really smoked super heavy in this car. It doesn't have that like smoker's smell, although it does have all these burns in the seat, so that kind of sucks. Back end of the car actually looks like it's in pretty darn good shape. No issues. All of the lights are on, and all of them work from buying it, but the front blinker, one of them doesn't work very well. I don't really know why. I was also really looking for reliability with this car. This thing is a Toyota, so, you know, reliability to the moon. It has a green title, it's good to go, and it has 130,000 miles on it. So a Toyota Corolla with 130,000 on it, this thing's got at least another 200,000 in it, so I can drive this thing until it dies and get my money's worth out of it. So speaking of getting my money's worth, let's talk about how much I paid. I purchased this car at a charity auction through Motor City Auto Auction. So when you donate your car to charity, like someone donated this car, it actually goes to the certain charity and they sell that car for the profit and then give that money to charity. I don't know which charity sold this car exactly, but I bought this car and then the money went to charity. A lot of people think that when you donate your car or boat or motorcycle or whatever, they just give it to a person in need. That's actually not the case. They sell the car and then they give the money or use the money to help somebody in need. So I bought this car through auction from them for $750. However, there was a couple fees on top of that. I had to pay the auction fee, which is normal. Every auction has that. That wasn't that big of a deal. And then there was tax. I also had to buy a new license plate, registration, all of that stuff. So my total out the door price for this car, everything, drive it off the lot, with tags and everything, was $1,040. So $1,000 deep for a 2004 Toyota Corolla with 130,000 miles on it. That's pretty good. I did, however, put some money into this. Like we mentioned, front brakes and brake pads cost me about $100. Emblem in the front was like $5, and then the battery was about $100. So I put about $200 into it. Details probably gonna be about another $100, so $300 right there. I do plan on going to get that AC fixed. Might just be a recharge, might be something a little bit more serious, but let's just round it up and say that I spent $500 to fix this thing up. I think that's pretty reasonable. I still got a car for 1,500 bucks. Like, in today's market, that's very hard to do. And the whole point of this car is so that it will save me money. It will be very cheap on insurance, very cheap to drive. Because of my lifestyle and living situation, I kind of travel far a lot. I used to live across the state from my family, so I would travel back and forth. I recently moved out of that area, so that's not so much of a driving issue. But however, this will also help me film content on the channel. If I can travel to different car events and drive there while spending much less money, that'll help me to produce more content and do more things for all you guys. It's so nice to be able to spend $30, $40 in gas and go up and down the state without any problems. And cheap gas combined with my hotel discounts, which we can do a whole other video on that later if you guys want. It makes it very, very inexpensive for me to be able to travel to these car events. So we're making business moves here, boys. That's what this is about. This is about business moves. I do actually, though, want to talk about something I forgot to mention, and this is not so good. There are some exhaust problems going on under here. You can see we've got some hangage over there. Something's starting to rust off. I'm not sure if I'm gonna clamp that back up or just yeet it off the car. And also over there, it has a little bit of an exhaust leak. It sucks, but I'm just gonna ignore it until it hopefully gets better or gets so bad that I can't handle it anymore. So a couple days after I bought this thing, I took it for a rip so I could see what this thing could do. I was sort of just testing it out. When you buy a car at Motor City Auto Auction, what they do, if it's an auction car, is they will have one of their mechanics drive the car and they will let you know some issues that it might have. So they'll write on the window, in this case it was written battery, alternator, and brakes. So they're like, hey, listen, this isn't a full up and down inspection. However, this is what we noticed that is wrong with it. There could be more, there could be less, but this is the issues that popped out to us. It didn't end up needing an alternator. It did need a battery, so we got that taken care of, and I took care of the brakes. But this, when I drove it, was beforehand, before I put those brakes on. So I was just testing it out. I was kind of ripping on it. And while I was ripping on it, a couple codes pop up. So that's not too good, but I don't think the codes are that bad. We have an airbag light. That I don't really like because, you know, safety issues. For some reason, I couldn't find it on the code reader. I'm not really sure why, but unfortunately, that's probably something I got to take care of. One of the codes that popped up was an O2 sensor. It actually popped up twice, so that probably has something to do with our exhaust leak. I would assume maybe something's rusted down there. I don't really know. But another one, which I don't really understand, is a torque converter clutch solenoid circuit performance. I don't know what that means. But to my understanding, it's like this sort of like, not a sensor, but like it's just like a little module thing that has something to do with the clutch. I don't know. But it says we need replacing. Car's driving fine right now, so maybe if it becomes an issue, I'll replace it. But as of right now, we're probably not going to do anything about those lights. But I did want to give a big, massive thank you to Motor City Auto Auction for hooking me up with this car. I love going to the auctions, and I'm going to leave a link to them down below. Make sure to check them out. If you're in the area, they really do sell good cars at a good price. They didn't sponsor this video or anything. Just wanted to share my experiences. But that's going to be all for this video, guys. Appreciate you checking this out. Hope you like the new Corolla, and I'll catch you in the next one.